This is what we are going to build. An Excel report with KPIs, top products, top customers, sales trends, charts ready for presentation, and a customer retention heat map. All of it generated with one command from 500,000 rows of transaction data. And I'm going to show you exactly how, step by step, on real data with real prompts. Not you could do this or imagine if, actual work start to finish with the results. Most tutorials about data analysis with Claude Code stay theoretical. A few prompts, some possibilities, but you rarely see someone work through a real data set, deal with the messy parts, and produce something that you could actually send to people in your business. And that's what this video is. 15-20 minutes from raw, huge Excel file to a finished report. Now let's play with some data. So what exactly are we working with here? I've got the online retail dataset from Machine Learning Repository, and it's real transaction data from a UK-based gift retailer. It's got everything you would expect: invoice numbers, product codes, quantities, prices, customer IDs, countries, and it's messy. There are returns and refunds mixed in with orders, cancellations, negative quantities, ambiguous dates, inconsistencies, and about a quarter of the rows are missing customer IDs. But this is what real business data looks like. By the end of this video, we'll have an Excel report with KPIs, top products, top customers, sales trends, and country breakdown. We'll have professional charts that you can drop straight into a presentation. We'll build a customer cohort analysis with a retention heat map, and we'll have a reusable script that regenerates all of this with a single command. But first, you might be wondering about the Python and the coding part. If you think that this sounds great, but I'm not a programmer, I don't know Python, you don't need to. Throughout this entire video, I'm going to write prompts to Claude Code, verify the data makes sense, run CLI commands, and review output files and charts. What I'm not going to do is open a Python file and read the code or write the code. I'm not going to debug syntax errors. And I'm not going to explain what pandas or matplotlib does under the hood. Claude Code handles all of that. My job is to know what questions to ask my data. What do I want to analyze? How should the output be structured? What counts as a return versus a cancellation? That's the skill. Knowing your business and knowing what you want to learn from your data. If you're good with Excel, you already have those skills. And prompting is just a different way of expressing those skills. For example, you probably can't write a VLOOKUP formula from memory. I know I can't. But you know when you need one and what it should do. And it's the same idea here, but more powerful. Now a quick one-time setup. If you've already got Python and Claude Code ready, you can skip to the next section. If you don't have it yet, go here, set up Claude Code, and install it with one command. Next, I'm going to have Claude Code set up the Python environment for me. I'm giving Claude detailed instructions here. Install UV if needed, create a virtual environment, install the packages for data analysis. There's a section for Mac OS or Windows. Delete the one that does not apply to you. And I'm also having it create a CloudMD file. This is like a memory file that helps Claude remember my preferences in future sessions. Things like always use UV, use this chart style. You can play with this, you can update the instructions, you can update the chart style. But this is a one-time thing. You run it once and you never come back to it. Now Claude Code is installing everything, testing, writing to CloudMD, and giving a summary that everything is now set up. This is my working directory so far, just CloudMD file. So let's put the data file, download it with 500,000 transaction rows. AI models can hallucinate. They can make up numbers that sound plausible but aren't real. So the first thing that I do is establish guardrails. I'm telling Claude, don't guess, don't estimate, just write code that loads the data, runs it, and then tell me what you found instead of just trying to do it in memory. And see what it's doing? It's actually writing the code, importing the data, running it, and now showing me what it found directly from the data. That matches what we expected. Date range, that's also correct. If the dates had shown January to September, I'd know that something went wrong with the date parsing. So the verification step catches those errors early. Now here's where I do something different from most tutorials. Most people would say, drop the cancellations, drop the returns, clean up the data. But I'm not going to do that. Returns and cancellations are the interesting business data. I want to be able to analyze them. And if a product has a 40% return rate, I want to know about that. If certain months have more cancellations, that's valuable information for me. So I want not clean data, but well-structured data. I'm telling Claude Code to not delete returns and cancellations, and I'm also telling it how to interpret data. I want to add a few columns that are not there right now. Is cancellation column. It's true if invoice number starts with C or quantity is less than 0. And then I want a summary of all the data, again, to verify that everything matches up with the totals and with what we expect to get from the file. So now I can see clearly we've got about 10,500 rows flagged as cancellations, 135,000 rows with missing customer IDs, and the data is still all there, but it's flagged with a new column so we can handle it appropriately and run analysis on that. All right, now it's time for the main event. Instead of running one-off queries like we just did, I'm going to have Claude build me a reusable script. One command to generate an entire Excel report with multiple sheets and charts. This is a longer prompt, and to write it properly, you need to know what kind of data you want to get out of the report. But here are the key parts. I'm telling it to generate an Excel report with 6 sheets. KPIs, top products, top customers, sales over time, by country, and QA checks. For each sheet, I'm telling what to include there, what I care about, or what to calculate that is not currently calculated, which rows to exclude. And on top of the Excel report, I also want to create charts for key visualizations. For the script to be even more useful to me so that I can rerun it whenever I want or whenever I have fresh data, I want to be able to have different parameters that I can change. How many top customers, frequency of data, switching between daily, weekly, or monthly, and filtering by date range. When the script is ready, I want it to run the script with the defaults, print a preview of the KPIs that it found, and give me the instructions on how to use the script, what options are available, and to open the generated images with charts. It started writing the Python code. It encountered a few errors, fixed automatically without me needing to do anything. Error again, fixed again, added everything that I wanted. Now the Python code is ready. Here's how to use it. And here's now the KPIs preview to show what it found and what's already in the spreadsheet. Top 3 products by revenue, how to use the script. This is the default, and then some parameters. The top 30 products, not 20, frequency weekly, not monthly, start date, end date, and where to look for the output files. It took Claude Code 4 minutes, 24 seconds to generate all of that. I didn't need to give any additional input on top of the prompt that I already showed. And here are the charts that it generated. Top 15 products by net revenue, sales trend over time monthly, and top 10 countries by revenue. This is a UK business, so the majority is in the UK. And here's the output that it generated. We have the report that we wanted and the charts. And look at this, the full report. All the sheets are in there. KPIs sheet with gross revenue, returns, net revenue, return rate, top products with quantities, revenue, return rates for each product, top customers with return numbers, average order values, sales over time by month, country breakdown with all the important KPIs for each country. This is QA sheet. This is important. It shows row counts at each stage and does reconciliation checks. Two different ways of calculating net revenue, and they should match. And this is how we verified that the numbers are correct and these are not hallucinated by Claude Code. And the chart generated. Clean, ready to put into presentation, maybe not the most beautiful in the world, but we can play with that in that CloudMD file where we define the colors, fonts, and how the charts look like. Top 15 products by net revenue, sales trend over time monthly, and top 10 countries by net revenue. Now let's say I want to see top 100 products instead of top 20. I can run the script with that parameter, or I can even just tell to rerun the report with top N 100 and show the top products row count. Rerun the script, verified that the row count is 100, and when looking at the top products sheet here, it's indeed 100. What about weekly data instead of monthly? Again, I can rerun it here in Claude Code or change one letter from M to W in the script and rerun the script. It finished running. It confirmed that now there are 54 time periods. And when we look at the generated chart, the chart is now weekly instead of monthly. And if I only wanted it for the first quarter, I would say to rerun it for start day January 1st to end of March and have that data. Now I've got the data, but what does it mean? I could start reading through all of the numbers myself, or I can have Claude Code help me. Based on the generated report, write 5 manager-ready insights. It generated key insights from retail report, revenue concentration in top customers, UK dominates sales, makes sense, it's a UK business, return rate at 8.6%, .com postage is the top revenue line, that's probably just shipment, strong Q4 performance with November peak. So this is somewhat helpful for me, like 3 out of 5 makes sense. And each insight also has a source where it was taken from, so which sheet it was from, where the numbers are coming from, and this prevents Claude from making things up. If Claude Code cannot point to where the numbers came from, it will not put it in the insight. So that's how we are keeping AI in check. Now I can start being more specific and list any concerning patterns you found. And I can go through key insights and the concerns that it found. Quite useful, all of those, and maybe something for me to start digging deeper. And again, for each of the concerns, it gives the exact source where it took the data from. Now, data verification. Most tutorials skip this part, but it may be one of the more important ones. AI can make mistakes, and I've seen it calculate things wrong, misinterpret columns, use the wrong date format, and you need to verify before you share your data and your findings with others in your business. With your specific data, you should know what should match and how it should match, but this is an example of how you could look at it. With this specific data set, we can define 2 different ways how to calculate net revenue. And when calculating in one or the other, the sums should match, so the difference should be 0 or close to 0. the difference is 0, so we can be quite confident in the data that it was not hallucinated. So this is verifying at the high level, and now we can drill down to the actual data row by row. An example of spot checking could be that for the number one product, create the output file with all the transactions for that product, include all the columns plus the calculated ones that we added, and then give the sum of all of that. You can go and choose a few rows and double check and verify in the source file to make sure that everything matches. That's again another angle and way to keep AI in check and to verify at every step that there is no hallucination coming into our analysis. This takes 2 minutes, and you can do it from time to time as you go, but this can save you from presenting wrong numbers to your business. And now you can start going deeper and slicing and dicing the numbers the way you want it to do. For example, I might want to see the average order value by country, or create a chart of average value per month. And after a minute and a half, I have the analysis. Average order values by country: Netherlands at 3,000, probably some wholesalers, and average order value by month. Also in a chart, we see December high here, but immediately Claude Code tells me that December is high, but it's only 9 days of December. It's partial month. And we can go even deeper. For example, something that is hard to do in Excel, but valuable for understanding customer behavior: cohort analysis. Which months customers are the most loyal? How does retention change over time? So I define each cohort, how I calculate it, and what I want the output to look like. And 1 minute later, it has a summary, and I have a nice heat map for each month. I can already start seeing some interesting numbers. Now, in 1 minute, I have that. Now try doing this in Excel. Try also finding out these observations easily and fast in Excel. And we just built it with one well thought out prompt. So let's recap what we just did. We took 500,000 rows of massive business data, and in about 15-20 minutes, we built a reusable report generator with KPIs, rankings, time trends, country breakdown. We created professional charts ready for presentations, or like semi-professional. We built a customer retention analysis with a heat map, and we set up verification steps to make sure that the numbers are right. And next month, when new data comes in, we just run one command and we have all the data, all the reports with fresh numbers, all the charts regenerated with an additional month or week. And this data analysis approach works for all kinds of data: survey responses, financial data, expense reports, marketing campaign performance, inventory tracking, really any kind of data that comes in a spreadsheet, however many thousands or hundreds of thousands it is. And as you have noticed, I never even opened a Python file today. What matters is knowing what you learn from your data and being able to describe it clearly in a prompt. You probably do it once, spend like an hour or two thinking about that, and then just modify it. And if Claude makes an error, you just paste the error that you have from your script, and Claude Code fixes it for you. And always, always verify. Now let's try something even more interesting as a bonus. Let's try creating a Jupyter Notebook out of this data that we saw that lets you play in a more visual way with just changing some parameters and getting the output and the reports and tables right away. Okay, it successfully generated a Jupyter Notebook, wrote it into a file, and it gave me the command to run. It seems like it's working, and now for each cell in Jupyter Notebook, I just press Command Enter so that it runs everything that's in the cell. It's helpful when we want to maybe just update some parameters and see quickly the outcome. And this is where it's helpful. If I want just 10, it's just one command. All of that generated in probably 2 minutes, chart by weekly trend, weekly returns. I didn't need to do anything for this to work. I just gave it one prompt to generate a Jupyter Notebook. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more Claude Code tutorials. I'll show more ways how to use Claude Code for much more than just programming. And now, go and play with your data.